Good morning, everyone. My name is Megan Desoni. Welcome to First and Cedar podcast. We are here in Denver, Colorado. Woke up this morning to a beautiful layer of snow. It started snowing last night. I woke up at like 3 a.m. and peeked my head out, and it was already coming down this morning. The trees are all covered. It looks like a beautiful winter wonderland out there. I was going to podcast yesterday, but then when I figured out there's going to be snow today, I was like, better to podcast on a day when it's all snowy. And so yesterday, me and Athena, we went to the park. We spent a few hours there. It was really pretty yesterday. It just kind of worked better since it was nice out, go outside and enjoy the weather. But here we are. Thank you for coming back and listening, sitting with me. So let's get into it. First off, I want to talk about yarn. Of course, it's all yarn related. I want to talk about the home collection, which finished launching last week, finished releasing every single one of the colors. These are 4 different colors inspired by different places that I have lived. So the first one is called Jacaranda. I know I've showed this one before, but it is based off of a tree that grows under the arches in my hometown where I grew up. I grew up in Mexico, in this colonial city, really beautiful streets, cobblestone, and just really, really old buildings built during the colonial times. So, so this is one of them inspired by that. The next one I'm going to show is this beautiful bright green. I called it Growth, and this one's based off of the Capitol building grass in Washington, D.C. And I just, like I said, I wanted to be something happy and encouraging. So we lived in D.C. for a while when my husband was in law school, and inspiration behind that one. And then the next one I'm going to show you was the last release. It's called Rebuilt, and this one's based off of Joplin, Missouri, where we lived and where our family, a lot of our family still lives. Just kind of inspired after a mural there in town that they put up after the tornado came through. And I just want to show the last 2 next to each other, and I am feeling all of the Christmas vibes with this one. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I kind of want to do some socks. There's this really gorgeous pattern. Should I go grab the sock? I'm gonna go grab this other sock. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So there's this gorgeous pattern by Jorge Locatelli. I made it. It's too big. It's big and wonky. I haven't even blocked it here on my sock blockers, but this is the one that inspired that sweater that I talked about that's still in timeout because the stripes. So if you look at it here, the stripes, it's such a small section. It's very high contrast. So I'm thinking Christmas socks. I think it'd be really pretty. And I got some needles so that it actually will be the size that I need it to be. It doesn't have this lace section in the pattern. It's just supposed to be stripes until you get to the toe. But I added it because I liked how it looked. That might become some socks. And the 4th color in the collection is Big Blue Bear. And this one's based off of the Big Blue Bear, downtown Denver, which is where we currently live. So Denver just upped their COVID scale warning here this week. Schools are all closed, so kiddos are home. A lot of the restaurants are closing earlier. They've limited the dine-in stuff. The mask mandate has been active this whole time, which I think has been really good. I think it's kept things from spreading faster than it has. So wear your mask, people. It's not a hard thing. I was talking to my mom yesterday, and it's just amazing the amount of people that just don't want to wear the masks, and it's mind baffling to me a little bit. Such a small thing. It's not that big of an inconvenience. I do it. My husband does it. My toddler does it. So yeah. And then I have, back to yarn, I have a sneak peek for you to my next collection, which I will be releasing probably either later tonight or tomorrow. And this next one is inspired by my daughter. She loves foxes. I don't know how that happened. At some point, we picked up a stuffed fox, and it has been her companion now for quite a while. And she just absolutely loves the fox and is all about fox stuff. She was a fox for Halloween. She still wears her Halloween fox ears everywhere. She has this orange dress and orange leggings that she wears, and she is a fox. She has now 3 stuffed foxes. But I was going through Pinterest and I saw this beautiful picture of a fox, which is going to kind of be the inspiration. And it kind of inspired me to think foxy and start some stuff on that. So I'm not going to release them one by one, the next colors. I think they were just going to release them all at once. It's 2 new colors and then a bring back to the basic collection. So this is my fox colors. So it's a black and a foxy orange, and it's called Fox in the Forest. So this is where that spruce green that I have sneak peeked before comes in. So yeah, Fox in the Forest, and this green is just gorgeous. And I didn't think I'd be like a rust orange person, but I want a sweater in this one. So this one's called Fox, I think. I don't know. This one's going to be Forest, the green. These two just look gorgeous together. And then I included, then back to the black, I've altered my recipe a little bit for this one. And it's a deeper black than the black that's in the basic collection. The black in the basic collection is a lot more tonal. So it has a lot more of like the lighter and darker. So this section on the black one kind of looks gray. But this one, as you can see, is just way more just saturated with black. So these will be released here in the next couple of days, and I'm super excited to get your orders in on these. It's going to be a made to order. So basically how that works is I have all of the supplies and yarn here ready, but because I'm just starting out, I don't know how many of each color to do that people will want. And so how it works is it's a made to order system. Once I get the order in, once you order it, it takes me very little time to dye it in the colors, the amounts that you want of each color, and then I ship them out. But I have the yarn just ready and waiting for it to take on the dye. So some made to order things take a couple of weeks because they order the yarn, they bring it in, then they dye it and do it. I have all of the yarn here ready, ready to go. So a little bit different. It doesn't take quite as long as some other places, but yeah, the Fox in the Forest collection. And then a last one that I have to show you, and I wasn't planning on doing another color quite yet, but I got the dye in and I had to test it out. And then after I tested it, I had to make myself a sweater's quantity. And you'll see that sweater coming up here in a little bit. But the next one is this gorgeous mauve color. I don't have a name for it yet. It's probably just going to be mauve because there's no other way to explain the colors to it. And for my skin tone, it just... so I read somewhere that you want to look at the skin tone on the inside of your arm to be like whether or not it'll go well. Anyway, because your face can look tanner sometimes, but if you want to know if it's going to look good all the time. So yeah, so mauve is also available for, the listing's going to go up for pre made to order on this one, and it's so pretty. So pretty. So yeah, that's all of the yarn content. 10 minutes in, that's talking about the new colors. I think after these 3 new colors and the redo of the black get released, my next goal is to start doing some variegated colors or some multiple color skeins. So those, something to look forward to. So let's talk. Let's talk finished objects, things that I have finished. And I've got some whips too, works in progress, but I did finish some stuff that I'm super excited to share. So this is a while back I finished this one, and I'm going to show it now, but I'm thinking of frogging it. Frogging is just basically taking it apart because it did not quite come out how I wanted. Christy, if you're watching, sorry. So I made this for my my sister-in-law, Christy. She had a baby back in September. I'm so late. It should have already been mailed to her. I should have just mailed it to her. But she wanted, I was making her a baby blanket. Actually, it looks really pretty on screen. But I'm not completely happy with it. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's got this really pretty pattern to it and a nice little edge. And then I did another like lace. So I haven't blocked it. I haven't wet blocked it to open up the lace. And then it's just stockinette in between the lace rounds. And it is actually bigger than you think. But I've been thinking about frogging this one and knitting it over a little bit different, maybe a little less lace. But that I think is just my personal preference on stuff. So this is made with Blush. Excuse me. Blush Fiber Company. She does hand dyeing. She's based down in Texas, and her stuff is just really pretty, really light, airy colors, very springy. And my sister-in-law is doing stuff in coral, so this is her coral colorway. And I bought 3 skeins of it. I only ended up using 2, which is why I think it's a little bit too small for the baby blanket that I was going for. It's so soft. It is that merino, and it's just very squishy. Like if you squish on it, it has a lot of give. And I actually, as having had a baby, I like how like little it rolls up into, because that will make it easy to carry along. So now that I'm talking out loud to you guys about it, maybe I won't frog it. Maybe I'll block it and see what it ends up looking like before I undo it all. Because I was going to redo it and just do like a basic back and forth stockinette and then do a border around it with a little bit of lace detail on that. But maybe I'll leave this one, and I have a skein left over, and maybe I can find a couple of other colors that go well with this coral and just do another one. So that's one of my finished objects, this little baby blanket, and it's absolutely amazing. It's very lightweight. So yeah, keep watching. Maybe in the future, once I block it, I'll have decided what will happen to that one. My other finished object, which if you've been following me on Instagram, you've probably seen some in progress photos. It's the Fonda sweater by Caitlin Hunter. She's Boyland Knits. That's her brand. And I I saw this one and I knew that I had to cast it on my brand new mauve color. So I dyed up 4 skeins for it because the pattern comes and it's a little bit cropped, so it doesn't go full length on the body, and it's like a sleeve that maybe comes up to here. And with it being the thicker yarn, I knew I would want it to be full length sleeve just because it's so warm. If I'm doing that, I want my arms all the way covered, or else I get too warm, but not warm on the arms. So I finished it. Let me, I can put it on over this. Here it is. I don't know if you can see it, but we have, we'll lay it a little bit sideways. We have baubles galore doing a beautiful, just diamond shape on it with some twisted stitches in the middle of the diamonds. And so yeah, I didn't swatch for this, so I didn't test out my needle size to the yarn to make sure that it was the same size as what the pattern called for. I just kind of started and jumped in on it, and I think it's going to be fine. But I haven't blocked it yet because I wanted to be able to show it today. I'll probably do that after I get done podcasting, block it out so that some of this just becomes more defined and the stitches really take. One of the things that I did find is that as I was going down, I was getting to a raglan depth that was going to start being too much, and I wasn't done with the chart, which is where you then you split for the sleeves, and you end up, your raglan is basically your measurement from here to here across. Or yoke depth, you could also call it. I'm so in love with this sweater. It is. There it is. Ooh, I'm probably going to get too warm. Let me stand up. So you guys can see it. And it is just super fluffy. So a couple of things that I did differently than the pattern. I did do a full length sweater on the side. And I've got layers and layers of bulk. It's all right. I did a full length thing. I did a split hem. It's a little bit longer in the back, a little bit shorter in the front. And when it all blocks out, it'll have just set a lot better. But like I was saying, I got to where I needed to split for the sleeves, and I wasn't done with my chart. And I figured if I went all the way down here, then my raglan with this section would still be coming down, and I'd have it all the way down to here, and then I'd split for my sleeves. And so what I did is I went ahead and split early. If you can tell, past the sleeve split, which is right here, I still have some of the pattern that I had to finish, and it actually worked out perfectly. I did make sure to split after this more complicated slip stitch area. And so I should have split down here. I actually split for the sleeves up here, which for me is perfect. I like the slightly wider neck line. I don't want it to be like this, which it doesn't look bad, but I just don't like that up around my neck quite as much. And it continues all the way here and back. And then another thing I did different, if you look at the Fonda sweater that she has, she does her baubles really big. They're so big and beautiful. I knew I wouldn't wear the sweater if it had that big of baubles. I'm just not that bobbly of a person. And so I did my baubles half the size that they called for, and I love them. They're, you touch it and it's just got bobbly texture all over it. And then I also did, like I said, I did long sleeves. So I came in and I kept going on the sleeves, and then I like a good section of ribbing. So the ribbing starts here again, because I tend to do this, washing dishes, doing stuff around the house, and I don't want it to constantly fall down. So I tend to do a good section of ribbing, which is this right here. You can see the ribbing a little bit more as you go along to be able to do this, because this is generally how I'm gonna probably wear the sweater. But I tried to pace myself and not go too fast. The yarn is a worsted weight yarn. It's my worsted weight yarn, hand dyed. So this is my first completed object in my own hand dyed yarn, which makes it extra special. Oh my gosh, it's just so pretty. The color is just really pretty. I want to make another one. I don't need another one, but I want to make another one. So I need someone to just be like, make me a sweater. I'll totally make you a sweater. I'll totally make this sweater again. Anyway, So this is the Fonda sweater, and I used almost the 400 grams or 4 skeins of it. This is all I had left in my trusty. So I haven't weighed it to see how much I had left. The pattern is made with a different yarn, and their yarn comes with a little less yardage per skein. And so if I was doing it in that, I probably would have needed 5 skeins. But yeah, so I had this much left. I'll weigh it, and then I'm going to, if you're a Ravelry user, I'm probably going to take some pictures this weekend over Thanksgiving. We're going up to the mountains here, and I'll try and convince my husband to take some snowy photos of me in my sweater. And then I'll make a Ravelry project page so that you, if you're a Ravelry user, you can know what I did and how I did it differently than the pattern. But yeah, and it's cold out today, so it's absolutely perfect day to be wearing it. But yeah, with the yarn being as thick as it is, I almost can't imagine not having the long sleeves all the way. Because if you have it in here, then my hands and my arms would get chilly. But that's one of the things that I love about knitting, is that you can have a pattern that someone releases and alter it. Be like, I know what I like. I like long sleeves. I'm not going to use a 3/4 length sleeve or a short sleeve sweater in this weight. And go ahead and keep that in mind as you're buying your yarn and do it to fit you how you want. Also, like the body length, she calls for a slightly cropped one. I think only 9 inches from the armpit down. And I did my full, I tend to do 15 to 16 inches on the body just because of the length of my torso. But yeah, if you have a longer torso, you can just keep going. It's knit from the top down. So you start by casting on the ribbing for the neckline, and then you do some short row shaping in the back. So you add some extra rows here at the top so that the back then evens out, because our backs come up higher than our front, the back, you know. And she did, for her short rows, she did called for wrap and turn short rows, which I am really bad at. So I actually did German short rows. And if you don't know what that is, there are tons of YouTube videos that can show you how to do the short rows. I tend to use Pearl Soho, their tutorials. Hi, Bean.
Hi, I'm going to the other window.
Okay.
I'm going to play on the controller.
You're going to play with your Switch for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I'm going to come.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kiss you.
Oh, yeah.
Then playing on my tender lips. I'm going to kiss Dorothy.
Okay, awesome. I'm excited.
I like your earrings.
Thank you.
And I like the bumps.
You like the bumps on my sweater?
Yeah.
Are you going to come fetch them?
So bumpy.
It is great. Can I get a kiss now?
Yeah.
Thank you. You're the
On
sweetest.
the other side.
On the other side. Thank you.
Talk about your
I
bumpy
did.
sweater.
I did talk about my bumpy sweater.
Talk about the bumps.
The bumps. What about the bumps?
Talk about them.
I did. I talked about how they're a little bit smaller than what the pattern calls for. Do you like petting my bumpy sweater?
I like to pet the bumpies.
You like to pet the bumpies?
Yeah, there's so many over here.
Oh. Do you like the color of the sweater?
Yeah, and I like the bumpies.
The bumpies. They're called baubles.
They look like bubbles.
They look like bubbles?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, go play your game.
Look at on you.
On my eye. Okay. Thank you, Bee. Oh, don't forget your game. Oh!
I'm gonna play with 2.
Oh my gosh.
I am gonna be the 2 players.
Okay, have fun.
Yeah. if you're done with your podcast, can you play the controller with
Yeah.
me? Okay.
She's the cutest. So that's it for finished objects. I'm actually gonna take this off because I'm wearing a sweater underneath it. I'm getting a little too warm inside. But yeah, super excited about this one. Maybe I should make one in like gold. Anywho. So yeah, the Fonda sweater by Caitlin Hunter. If you're on Instagram, you can just follow the hashtag and you'll see all the gorgeous sweaters that other people are making, which is always a fun thing to follow what other people are doing and how they're doing it. We could talk about what I'm wearing. This is another pattern by Caitlin Hunter. It's the Tenya. I'm not exactly sure how to say it. I don't think anyone knows how to say it. It's one of her older patterns, and it's just, this one's knit from the bottom up, and it flares out, comes in, and then it has this scoop neck with a little rolled hem, and then you go back and you add the sleeves. This one's made in Explorer Knits and Fibers. She's also hand indie dyer. This is the Joshua Tree National Park inspired colorway. So yeah, I don't wear this one very often because the neckline is a lot wider. I wore it a couple of times over the summer and really liked it. But now that it's gotten a little bit colder, I don't tend to wear it as much, but it's a fun summer knit. And the lace is all at the bottom, so you kind of start with it. By the time you're like, I can't do any more lace, you're done. And then you're just doing it in the round all the way up, separate, and not much complication happening once you're done with the bottom. So now works in progress. So I have a sweater here that I started a while back in the green from the Fox in the Forest colorway. And it is, if you want to see it knit up, that green, and how the variation in the color, the hand dyeing of it, how it looks actually knit up. I'm going to post pictures of this later so you can see it a little better, but I love just the tonality that comes with it. So once again, I'm actually going to put it on because at that point where I can. This one is one of my own patterns. I used a custom raglan one, and so I made a swatch to get my gauge and figure out. I'm not done with it, so how it was going to look. And this green is gorgeous. So I made a swatch in the round. First time I've ever swatched in the round. Usually I swatch back and forth even if the pattern is in the round, and then my gauge is off. So like my number of stitches per inch is off. So I actually swatched correctly for this one. And then this little holes here is the size of needle that I used for it. I saw this from stole this from Tracy Miller from the Grocery Girls, another really fun podcast to listen to if you don't already. I'll put it. So basically this tells me what needle size I used for the swatch. I used a US 5 because there's 5 little holes there, which is what I then used to make this. So the dilemma that I'm coming up against as I have finished the body and I finished one sleeve is the fact that I have this much yarn left in my skein, and I still have to knit a whole other arm and a whole other neckline. So I weighed this ball before I did the sleeve. I had 50 grams of yarn left. So then I knit my sleeve and I have 24 grams of yarn left. So it means I used just a tiny bit over half of it. And I was really hoping I'd not have to dive into this next skein, but it looks like I'm going to have to, especially if I'm going to do the neckline. And it looks really wide like the Tenya one, but I haven't put the ribbing on here yet. And I'm actually going to do probably 1.5 inches. So it'll end up being quite perfect, I think. And I've got too many layers on here. supposed to sit kind of like this. So it comes down, it's a scoop neck, and then it's got the thicker raglan. So it's kind of the same construction as the gold textured sweater, but this is fingering weight or a lightweight yarn, and the other one was thicker. So anyway, that's where I am, and that's why I haven't knit the other sleeve on it, is just because I don't want to. I'm going to have so much left over of this, and I don't know what I'm going to do with the leftover yarn. I guess because it is fingering / sock, I could just make a pair of socks out of this. I could hold it double, maybe make a hat for Athena, for my daughter. I'm not sure. Anyway, so same kind of construction. Megan, how many sweaters can you have? Same kind of construction, just a raglan, and then again, the longer line of ribbing at the arms, because that's how the sweater is going to end up being most of the time. I wash dishes as I do anything, and then you get chilly, you pull it back down. So this one's a lighter weight than the Fonda sweater. So this one will be a little bit probably easier to wear indoors and not get overly warm with it. So that's right. So yeah, that's where I'm at on this one. And this, like I said, this is just a sweater of my own pattern making, my own design, size and fit. So I think I should just take the plunge and use the, I guess it's the third skein of yarn. The squish on this, and it's light. Like if this is only 175 grams, so maybe not even 6 ounces, 6 ounces. It's not a heavy sweater. So 100 grams is 3.5 ounces. So 7. So this one's only 14 ounces, which still is not heavy, and it's got incredible squish to it. It's just the way the yarn is. It's really pretty. And then this one's a lighter one, so it's going to weigh probably, if I use the third one, 9 ounces of yarn, which is a really good amount of weight for that. So that's another work in progress. Hopefully by the time next week rolls around, I have finished that second sleeve, wound up this last this is the last one that I have on hand. If anyone orders any, I'm going to have to dye some more of the green, but it's such a gorgeous color. And I was planning on wearing it at Christmas, so I do have some time. It's going to be my Christmas Day sweater to finish it up. Green, dark green. So that is that. Another work in progress that I have going is I'm a little sweatered out at this point, and maybe that's why I haven't finished the sleeve either. Is going to be a shawl. It almost looks like I changed colors here, but skeins or whatever, but I didn't. That's just how the skein is. So this is just a simple seed stitch one. I love stuff with texture. As you touch this, it's got a lot of texture to it. I was knitting it on these straight needles, but I found that every time I started a new row, the weight on this one was hurting my hand, even though it's very light and very little. And so I switched it just this morning to some circular needles, which means that
why do you have a different sweater on?
I had this one on under the bubbly sweater, which means that the weight just is a little bit more distributed as you begin your rows. So I'm working on this, and this is just kind of some mindless knitting. You don't have to think much about it.
I love it.
Thank you, Bee.
I like the purple signs.
You like the little purple blotchies?
Yeah.
They're called speckles.
I like the speckles.
So that's
and
where I
like
am.
the pink too.
I'm not very,
Megan,
you
Megan.
like the pink too?
Yeah.
I'm not very far into, oh, I did change color. Oh, I should have alternated some rows for a little bit. Okay, then it's here.
Put in some wolves. Put in
And so
some
this
purple
one,
for a rabbit.
it's going to be really pretty. And what I might end up doing is picking up all of the stitches around the edge and adding a border. But I actually think it's going to be super wide, and it's going to be just a scarf, and I think it'll look pretty. And then a
Megan.
cast on. I haven't quite started yet, but I did cake up my skein. This beautiful gray. And this one's going to be, it takes 3 skeins of this, same amount as a sweater, but it's going to be a shawl. And it's going to be another pattern by Hohi. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, Julie's Wrap is what it's called. But it's a basic, you kind of do the same thing as this. You make a rectangle back and forth, just in garter stitch. Super mindless. You just go back and forth, and you pick up all the stitches around, and you do a really pretty border with baubles around the edge. And so now that I've gotten the baubles down, you're going to see more baubles coming from me. What is it?
Put purple on this wooden
It-
cell
It needs purple
to make it pretty.
to make it pretty. That would be pretty. Gold and purple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be looking soon on Instagram for pictures of this being cast on. I've got all my stuff together.
The
Stripes?
stripes in between of the gold.
Uh-huh. You know, Mama has that purple left over from the purple sweater.
With purple letter.
My one purple sweater. It's over in my little yarn stash. There's little balls of purple. Do you want to go get them?
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Can
one might become a stripe.
you teach two leftovers? You this one and this one.
These?
Yeah.
You want this with the gold?
Yeah.
Oh, that
That
is
one-
pretty. But look, how big is this yarn? And then how thick is this yarn? It's a lot thicker. See how they're different?
Oh,
So we can't mix these two. I guess we could, but it would make the thing fatter.
what thing?
This. So instead of being straight, it would make it fatter because your yarn is thicker.
It's yarn and not bigger.
I have some pretty purple that's the same as this. Should I add that?
Oh, is it the same size as this little drawing?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Use it.
Use it. Okay. It's been decided. There you go. All right. And that's all for today, guys. Again, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Wait, the guy.
Like and subscribe. Thumbs up. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope it's relaxing. I hope you get a chance to relax with whatever craft you're into, whether it's knitting, embroidery, crochet, sewing. Yeah, I hope you find some time this weekend to do that. They need to click the little bell.
Yeah,
What does that do?
that do. Don't not. Don't.
It will notify them of our future episodes.
Don't not. You lose any video.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right, guys. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Click the bell.
Click the bell, subscribe, like, right?
Right.
All right. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.